All right, guys, welcome back here to the King of the Show. So, I know you guys have been hitting me up and saying, so the SmackDown reactions or any Monday Night Raw reactions. You guys want the full truth? You want the full truth to what's going on with the SmackDown Monday Night Raw reactions? Come back here in a minute. All right, guys, we're back. So, the full truth to what's going on is, I'm sure you guys are watching Monday Night Raw. That show is abysmal. Listen, thank God for Monday Night Football. Thank God for the NBA playoffs to still be going on. Can you guys watch that show? Like, do you see what's going on that show? Do you see what's going on that show? We got the Seth Rollins, Rey Mysterio, Dominik storyline since... How long has that storyline been going on? Since after WrestleMania? Yeah, literally. Since after WrestleMania. That's still been since April, May, June, July, August, September. 6 months. Rey Mysterio can't even wrestle. He tore his he tore his tricep. Then he tore his tricep. So he's not gonna be able to wrestle for the next 6 or 7 months. So you know what I'm saying? Dominik. Okay, I know you guys are trying to push Dominik, but wouldn't you think it would be right to push him in something that his dad was famous for, which would be like the cruiserweight championship? I'm just saying, because again, the tag team titles. Come on, man. Humberto Carrillo, really? Now, if Rey Mysterio was not injured, I wouldn't have a problem with Rey Mysterio and Dominik being the tag team champions, but Rey Mysterio's injured. Okay? Seth Rollins. Poor Seth Rollins, man. He at this point, Seth's been like, you know what? I'm going home with Becky Lynch. Till you find me something important to do, I'll be home with Becky Lynch while she's taking care of her while she's pregnant. I'm sick of seeing this Dominik and Seth Rollins storyline. Okay, Dominik had a great match against Seth at the pay-per-view and also Monday Night Raw. He had a good, decent match against Buddy Murphy, and that was that street fight match. That was cool. Had a decent match with Seth Rollins in a steel cage match. That was decent. Move him on to something else. Again, him on NXT listen, if you would put Dominik on NXT with Rey Mysterio, if you're trying to get the numbers to compete against AEW, I'm sure people would rather see Dominik on NXT fighting for the Cruiserweight title with Rey Mysterio as his manager. Would you guys not be interested in that? But I'm sick of seeing Dominik and Seth Rollins for the last 6 months. I'm sorry. Move it on to something else. Raw Underground. Do I need to even say anything about Raw Underground, people? You took away the strippers and it went downhill. You took away the strippers and it went downhill. No, seriously, guys. But Raw Underground, what's the point of it? There's no belts for Raw Underground. There's nothing. It's just what? It's just what? Raw Underground is boring. Scrap it. All right. Move on from Raw Underground. Tag team division. Oh, my bad. What division is there in the tag team division? So you break up Andrade and Garza. You put them back together. Seth Rollins, Buddy Murphy, look like they break up. They're back together. Again, Humberto and Dominik. Viking Raiders are injured. What is there in the tag team division? Like JD said, they should have merged the divisions at Clash of Champions. Because, Jesus, there is no tag team division. Garza and Andrade versus the Street Profits. This has been going on since after WrestleMania 2. Literally, all these storylines have been since after WrestleMania, except for one storyline on Raw. What is there in the tag team division? Jesus, merge the divisions, please. After Clash of Champions, just merge the divisions. Because there's no divisions in both Raw or SmackDown. So, continue with the crappy Raw. Let's go on to the next storyline. Peyton Royce and Billie Kay. You split them up for what? Just to have them back together a week later and they're doing... What's the point of breaking up Billie Kay and Peyton Royce if you're not going to... If you don't know what you're going to do with Billie Kay and Peyton Royce while you're breaking them up. Another issue. Asuka. She beat Sasha Banks at SummerSlam to recapture her belt. Correct, people? Because I'm still here with this. Because again, I'm just really only watching pay-per-views. That's the only thing I'm watching. But yeah, she beat Sasha Banks for the belt at SummerSlam. Okay, after that, you have Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax beat Sasha and Bayley for the tag team titles. So you took away 2 people right there. So then you're left with Mickie James and now Selena Vega, who has not wrestled on Monday Night Raw in how long? And out of the blue, Selena Vega is the number 1 contender. Out of the blue, she's a number 1 contender to face Asuka at Clash of Champions, and she hasn't wrestled in God knows how long on Monday Night Raw. I think the last time she wrestled was against Bianca Belair, which was after WrestleMania. So your issues right there. Again, Raw Women's Division, poor Asuka. And then the people who are going to be complaining about the Raw Division, you can be like, where's that Charlotte Flair? For God's sakes, you people better find something and what to do with the Raw Division, Women's Division before Charlotte comes back and she'll beat Asuka for the belt and she'll become a what? 15-time Women's Champion? Or 14-time? One of those situations like that. So you better figure something out quick before the Queen comes back. Now, you move Mandy Rose from SmackDown when she was with Otis, and now you move Mandy Rose to Monday Night Raw. So what are you going to do with Mandy Rose? Now, I like Mandy Rose. She's been developing better and better. But, so out of the blue, she's going to be next in line to face Asuka. Build up Mandy Rose, I guess. Because again, you took away Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax to make them the tag team champions in the women's division. You could have gave them back to Billie Kay and Peyton Royce if you had nothing to do. And then you could have had Shayna Baszler feud with Asuka. See what I'm saying? If you're trying to keep your division credible, just flip the roles. Billie Kay and Peyton Royce are back to being tag team champions, and then you have Shayna Baszler face Asuka. But here's what is with that. Keith Lee, Kevin Owens, Aleister Black. Three superstars who I was saying, man, after WrestleMania, Aleister Black had just beaten Andrade, I believe, or was it Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania? I think it was Bobby Lashley, or was it Andrade? I forgot who Aleister Black beat at WrestleMania. But I was like saying, okay, after WrestleMania, he's going to get this push. Aleister Black is going to get this push. And then now he's on Raw Underground. And then Kevin Owens. After Kevin Owens had one of the best spots at a WrestleMania in God knows how long, he's gonna get a push. He's gonna get a push. And then Kevin Owens, Jesus Christ. Then to Keith Lee. Keith Lee, who had some of the greatest matches in NXT in the last two to 3 years. His matches with Dijakovic were phenomenal. Comes up to Monday Night Raw. You change his music. Listen, I know all the legal rights about saying, oh, Keith Lee's music is by CFO. CFO is no longer there now. Come on, man. When people say music makes a superstar, music makes a superstar. For example, Nakamura's theme song, when you first heard it, I'm like, yo, this is dope. I'm behind this. AJ Styles' debut in WWE at the Royal Rumble. His music, you're like, oh, okay, I can get with this. You know what I'm saying? I can get with this. And then you just take away Keith Lee's music. Like, come on, man. So you took away his music. You changed his attire. You put a t-shirt on him. Take a t-shirt off. Put a singlet on. I'm like, come on, man. Like, you listen, if you'd have kept his music and just changed his attire if you wanted to, cool. He has his music still at least. But you take away a man's music and his attire, then you have literally, he's only beaten 2 superstars. He beat Randy Orton at, what was the last pay-per-view? Was it What? It wasn't SummerSlam. What was the last pay-per-view that WWE had? Jesus Christ. See, me and these pay-per-views, I just keep forgetting. What was the last pay-per-view that they had? Forgot whatever. Whatever, the last pay-per-view that they had for Monday Night Raw, whatever for the company. He beats Randy Orton. He only won 2 matches. Was Randy Orton and Dolph Ziggler. That's it. Besides that, all his other matches have been DQ, 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 DQ. How are you building a superstar if you have 2 wins and you've been in the ring about 8 or 9 times and the rest of them have been all DQs? How is that making somebody like, oh, I can get behind this guy when all his other matches have been all DQs? Issue there. Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton. So you had Randy Orton lose to Keith Lee. Stalled his momentum there. Randy Orton lost to Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam. Okay, you try to do it in a cool way where Drew McIntyre escapes Randy Orton. But what you should have done is when Drew McIntyre beat Randy Orton with that roll-up, he should have RKO'd Drew McIntyre and laid him out and said, you got lucky. You got lucky, Drew, but I'm still better than you. Okay, cool. The next night, Randy Orton punt kicks Drew McIntyre like 3 or 4 times. Cool. You had Keith Lee come out, challenge Randy Orton. I think that was a DQ finish. Then you go ahead and have Keith Lee face Randy Orton at the pay-per-view. Keith Lee beats Randy Orton. You should never have had that whatsoever. I'm sorry. Cool, you're trying to establish a new star. But Randy Orton losing 2 times in a row, losing at SummerSlam and then losing against Keith Lee, did Orton no favors. Okay? Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton in an ambulance match. Who's trying to watch that? If what you should have done is this. Drew McIntyre should have been out of action from that injury from Randy Orton until Hell in a Cell build. We'll get to SmackDown in a second. Drew McIntyre should have been out of action for that punt kick until Hell in a Cell build. What you could have done is have Randy Orton, you could have him on TV, you could have him off TV. You could have Randy Orton picking up victory after victory after victory until Drew McIntyre comes back. That way, Randy Orton still looks good. Drew McIntyre comes back looking for revenge. McIntyre, Orton, Hell in a Cell. Boom! That way, Randy Orton's back up with his momentum, and Drew McIntyre is coming back for revenge. Jesus, didn't they used to book this stuff back in the 90s, in the early 2000s, stuff like this? But no. Everything with WWE now is quick. It's quick. There's no payoff. There's no payoff. So now you have Orton versus McIntyre at Clash of Champions in the ambulance match, which, do I care? Do you care? Of course not. NXT, if you guys want to talk about NXT, listen, man. That show's hard to watch now, too. Listen, I used to love NXT. Triple H is still doing he's still doing a good job, but it's just NXT is missing the same thing with Monday Night Raw is doing now. Everything is quick. We used to slow things down at NXT. We used to be about long-term booking. But because everybody's moving from NXT to Raw or to SmackDown, you're like, damn, what am I doing now? So I'm not fully blaming Triple H, but it's just like they're taking everybody that is good and it's moving them away now. And they're like, oh, no, we want him. But it doesn't make sense, but Triple H can't control it, is what it is. Again, NXT and AEW need to move away. They need to move away. The ratings are hurting each other. For example, AEW hit 1 million, I think it was a couple weeks ago when they were on by themselves. They hit 838, I think it was something like that, 838,000 viewers. NXT, again, they're trying to take ratings. If I'm AEW, just say, fuck it, I'll move to Tuesday. I'll move to Tuesday my damn self. You can keep Wednesdays for yourself. But NXT and AEW need to split apart. Let them flourish on their own. AEW, I'm liking it, but again, it comes on now when the playoffs are on. So, like, do I rather watch AEW or rather watch Boston versus Miami? It's the playoffs. But AEW is still doing good stuff. I like Jon Moxley, Jericho and MJF. These little segments they're having, they're freaking amazing. Cody Rhodes return. I like the black hair look now, a little darker Cody Rhodes, which is probably going to make a heel turn in the future, but I like that. But AEW is still doing good stuff, but they just had some COVID outbreaks, so hopefully they can get over those COVID outbreaks. But on to SmackDown, which is not complete garbage, but it's still a little garbage. But compared to Monday Night Raw, it's way better, but it's still garbage. Okay, so at least on SmackDown, you have some builds. You have some meat. You have some meat, but you're trying to add potatoes. You get what I'm saying? Monday Night Raw is pretty much meat and potatoes, but nothing on your plate. Like you're not in, nothing is cooking yet. SmackDown at least has the potatoes boiling, the meat is done, you're just waiting for the potatoes. But it's still not there yet. Okay? You have Roman Reigns with the heel turn with Paul Heyman. It's good. I like where it's going. It's good. Jey Uso, again, people say, oh, Jey Uso. Listen, it's going to add to it at the Clash of Champions. Roman Reigns is going to beat the living hell out of Jey Uso. He's probably going to bloody him up. We'll probably get some blood there, but it's going to be good. Bayley and Sasha Banks. See, at least with Bayley and Sasha Banks, they're making you wait. Because Bayley and Sasha Banks will lock up in a Hell in a Cell. At Hell in a Cell. It's going to be freaking fantastic. And finally, Sasha will get her first Hell in a Cell victory over somebody. Because she lost to Charlotte, she lost to Becky Lynch. She will beat Bayley. Because, again, she's in The Mandalorian. Vince, you better have Sasha win. She's in The Mandalorian. Season 2. You better push Sasha now. So at least on SmackDown, you have the Bayley-Sasha feud. Roman heel turn. Alexa Bliss with her little Harley Quinn type gimmick that she's... I like it. So you have 3 things that are working so far in SmackDown. Oh, I forgot about the Hurt Business. Jesus Christ. Oh, I didn't even get to... We'll get to them. We'll hold on to Hurt Business and then for the Retribution in a second. We'll get to them. But at least on SmackDown, you have Roman Reigns. You have Alexa Bliss. And you have Sasha and Bayley. That's 3 things. They're actually decent. On Raw, you have nothing that's decent. So, I like that. Now, the whole thing with Sami Zayn and Jeff Hardy and AJ Styles in a ladder match, that's good too. So you have 4 things on... Jesus Christ, Vince. So you have some good stuff and then you have complete garbage. Raw is just awful. My God, I can't... Listen. So SmackDown, you have 4 good things and then you have 1 glaring issue. Again, tag team division. Cesaro and Nakamura facing absolutely nobody. Like, that literally is your issue on SmackDown. If you had a better tag team division on SmackDown, it would be watchable completely. But again, that's your glaring issue on SmackDown, is your tag team division. And Bray Wyatt is completely garbage again. But you sacrificed one thing for a greater good. But again, Bray Wyatt, I felt bad for him, man. Like, he worked so hard in his gimmick, and then now it's like, do you care no more about The Fiend? We'll see in the future. But at least SmackDown is watchable, unlike that garbage on Monday Night Raw. Let's get to Monday Night Raw. Last 2 things. The Hurt Business. You build them up as heels. They keep fighting with Ricochet and Apollo Crews. End that, please. Which look like you're going to have to end that. It looks like it. Let's get to the big issue here. Retribution. So these guys were on TV for the last, what? Was it last month? It was like the last month, right? You couldn't pick... No offense. I'm not going to be mean to these characters, but listen. Dominik Dijakovic. He still could be used on NXT. Mia Yim. Okay, Mia, yeah, you could pull up Mia. You could bring up Mia because, again, Keith Lee is her boyfriend, so I guess. You pull up Mia Yim, I guess. You pull up Mia Yim. Mercedes Martinez. What did she do in NXT? She was on there for like what? About a month? If you want to say, okay, about 2 months. I think she appeared before WrestleMania. Okay, so we'll go I think about 4 or 5 months. Okay, about 4 or 5 months. But again, what did Mercedes Martinez do in NXT? She didn't even have time to scratch her butt. No offense. She was there for... So Mercedes Martinez still could have been used in NXT. Dio Madden. Again, he was an announcer, was a wrestler in NXT, back to being a wrestler, then he brought back to being an announcer. So Dio Madden, he did a decent job to me as an announcer. But to Vince McMahon, he didn't do a great enough job, so he moved Dio Madden. Shane Thorne. To me, honestly, he was just starting to use his gimmick. Again, I've seen Shane Thorne a couple of times at NXT house shows. He was starting to become a better wrestler, starting to become a better worker. You pull him up. All I'm saying is this. We have some people that should have stayed in NXT and could have moved up. Cool. But this whole gimmick as Retribution, I don't like the characters. I don't like the people you chose. If you want me to be honest, what you should have done, you should have kept Rusev. Okay? You could have used Rusev. I would have talked Rusev and just say, hey, we got this new gimmick that we're going to be using. What do you think about you being a leader? Okay, you could have kept Rusev. My poor girl, who I thought was just becoming into her own gimmick, Donna Purrazzo. You should have pulled her back, Donna Purrazzo. Let's see, who else could we used? Trying to think of somebody else. As a women's wrestler. Who else? Naomi. You could have used Naomi because she's not being used. So we could have Rusev, Donna Purrazzo, Naomi, and then you need at least 2 more men that were not being used properly. I would have brought back Sami Zayn in this gimmick. Sami Zayn. I need 1 more man, 1 more male, and 1 more female. I'm trying to think of another female. Because again, we use Naomi, Mia Yim. My bad. We use Naomi, Donna Purrazzo, which again, you see what she's doing in TNA. She's really good. Another male character for Retribution. I'm trying to think of somebody else. So we had Sami Zayn, Rusev. Looking for 1 more person. Dang it. I'm trying to find 1 more male. Trying to find 1 more male superstar. You know what? You could have used Kofi Kingston. But let's just say if you use Kofi Kingston, Kofi, Rusev, Sami Zayn, Donna Purrazzo, Naomi. Okay? All 5 people. Well, you could say Kofi if you want to. You know what? How about this? We take out Kofi Kingston and add Kevin Owens. Nope. Kevin Owens was already still back as being used. But anyways, we have 4 out of 5. I'm trying to think of 1 more male superstar who's like wasn't being used properly. Dang. I'm trying to think of somebody else as a male super. How about Cesaro? You would pull Cesaro off and put him in this gimmick too. And then you could have used Sami Zayn's your mouthpiece, but your leader's Paul Heyman. Because Paul Heyman Roman could have been a heel by himself. So Paul Heyman's the leader of Retribution. But you have these 5 superstars. Sami Zayn, Rusev. Who did it? Sami Zayn, Rusev. Who's that male superstar I just said? Sami Zayn, Rusev, Cesaro, Donna Purrazzo, Naomi are your 5 Retributions. What do you think? That works better than Dominik Dijakovic, Shane Thorne, Dio Madden, Mia Yim, and Mercedes Martinez. No, that wouldn't work. But again, if you're trying to make a faction challenge the WWE at Survivor Series, which the rumors are, it'll be Retribution against some form of whatever Monday Night Raw, SmackDown superstars. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna use a gimmick, you need real names. For example, let's say AEW did this gimmick. You would probably use Cody Rhodes, Kenny Omega, and let's just say Jon Moxley. That sounds like star power as a heel gimmick, right? You need star power on Monday Night Raw. Because again, these guys are not gonna get you over. Like, you still had 1.6 million people watch. Nobody cares about that gimmick. I'd rather watch the Miami Heat against the Boston Celtics or the Lakers and the Nuggets than watch Retribution on my TV screen. Like, the names did them no favor. So you need star power. Vince knows you need star power if you're gonna use a gimmick. Like, this is not working. And this will probably be dead before Survivor Series, which will probably be true. Because, listen, you're going to have how many more DQ finishes until Survivor Series? How many more DQ finishes are you going to have until Survivor Series? And I dare them have Dominik Dijakovic beat Drew McIntyre in the middle of the ring. No offense to Dominik. He's a great wrestler. But him beating Drew McIntyre in the middle of the ring, like, you're going to have Retribution win matches to build them up until Survivor Series. And they'll probably lose the Survivor Series. Let's be honest. They'll probably lose the Survivor Series and then disappear off the TV screen. It's just facts, people. So, if you're going to use a gimmick, you need to have star power. And whose fault there's no star power? Vince McMahon's fault there's no star power. And, again, your short-term booking costs you to lose Rusev, lose Diana Purrazzo, who's a great women's worker. I told you she's great. You said she's working on NXT. She's working on TNA. And then you lost a couple more superstars you could have used in this gimmick. But Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson just said, we don't need you guys. You guys can go away. We don't need you. We don't need you, Rusev. You can go away. We don't need you, Heath Slater. You can go away. And then you have a gimmick now where you're like, damn, we could have used some of them probably, or even what we have on the roster we're not using. But it's what it is, people. This is my thoughts on the product right now, which, again, Monday Night Raw is not watchable. I'm sorry, people. If you're wondering why there's no reactions to Monday Night Raw, because that show is just god-awful. Like, it's awful. So, SmackDown at least has some interesting things. I'll try to get you guys some more videos maybe Saturday, because, again, tomorrow I'll be at GameStop trying to get the PS5 pre-order there. I have a haircut appointment, and then we'll probably do something on Saturday with some reactions, and also previewing predictions to this Clash of Champions, which, woo. We're trying to get you some of those predictions for that. So I'll catch you guys back here on... I'll probably be back tomorrow to give you guys if I got the PS5 or not. But I'll catch you guys back here definitely for Saturday. So if you could like the video, comment down below, subscribe, catch you guys back here on Saturday.